What does it mean to shoot in log, and why do the professionals do it if it looks like absolute garbage? What's up friends, a nerdy filmmaker here, and today we are talking about shooting in log. This is gonna be just a very simple overview of what it means to shoot in log and why you would wanna do it. So first off, I'll just say that every camera company seems to have their own version of log. Sony has S-Log, Canon has C-Log, I think Blackmagic has their own, Fuji has their own, everyone's got their own logs. And another term for shooting in log is shooting flat, and that's in reference to how terrible the footage looks straight out of the camera. So when you're shooting in log, it's accepting the highlights and the shadows at different rates. It's cramming in more information. Ooh, that's weird. It's cramming in more information in the shadows and in the highlights, thereby giving you a greater dynamic range. So that means that you have more room from shadow and highlight that the camera can accept before it becomes pure black and pure white. But the result of doing that leads to a very flat image. That being said, to shoot in log requires color correction. So this is not a good out of the camera look. This adds a whole process of color grading and color correction in post-production. So if you're not comfortable doing that, this is maybe something you don't want to jump right into. But let's take a look at how it can affect the shadows and the highlights in a contrasty image. It's a very sunny day and I'm out on my balcony looking cool with my cap backwards. By exposing from my skin, most of the building in the background has become pure white, while some shadows in the trees have become pure black. They've clipped, meaning that it would be impossible to get back any detail in post-production. But what if we shot this in log? In the flat image, we can see that it has retained detail in both the building and the tree. If we add one of Sony's LUTs, it has started to reintroduce some contrast and saturation, but the highlight and shadow details are still there. Finally, I can make more adjustments to get the image looking closer to how I'd like it. So what have we learned from this? When would you want to shoot in log and when would you not? As I said before, shooting in log adds an entire step in post-production. Although you're probably always going to be doing a little bit of color correction and color grading, when you're shooting in log, it requires a whole process. Usually starting by adding in what's called a LUT, a lookup table. And that helps transform your log image by re-adding in contrast and some saturation. Lots of people sell LUTs online to be used in Premiere or Resolve, but the camera manufacturers themselves also have free versions available on their websites. So when you're shooting a commercial or a piece of fiction, it's usually safer to shoot in log if you have someone in post-production that knows how to use that footage. It accepts so much more information, offers so much more leeway in color grading, and so generally produces a better result in the end. But when would you not want to use log? Well, I can tell you that this is the only YouTube video I've made that is shot in log. Generally, because I have such control over my space, I don't find it necessary to do that much color grading, so I just shoot in without what's called a picture profile, I'll just shoot in regular mode. But other times when I shoot in a kind of a regular color space is when I'm using, let's say, multiple cameras, and this is not like a high stakes, high paid project, and efficiency is more important just because, again, color grading will add so much time in your post-production and they don't want to pay me for that much more time. If you are editing your project and you've never shot with log before, I highly suggest that you don't test it out on your first big project. Go out, shoot some sample footage and play around with it. Once you get the hang of working with log footage, it becomes easier, but at first it can be quite daunting and may not look as good as you think it's going to. But in the end, when you're shooting a professional project, if you have the budget to hire a colorist, it is almost always preferable to shoot in log. That's it, friends. Quick explanation. I hope it was helpful. Like, subscribe, comment, etc., etc. I got nothing else. I hope I see you on the flippity flop. Bye.